A few inspiring thoughts. I do not know of any finer expression of values, any better cataloging of ideas to which our emotions might properly be attached, or any more adequate ideal as a stimulus to the will than St. Paul gives in his letter to the Philippians. Whatever things are true, whatever things are honorable, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. The unexamined life is not worthy of being lived, said Socrates the philosopher. Think on these things, said Paul. Take an inventory of these things. Keep your mind set upon them. Set a value on them. For thought precedes accomplishment. We grow like the things we think about. The good is positive, not negative, according to Daniel Marsh. I have lived long enough to value every single day I open my eyes, especially in this day when the virus, the pandemic rages. I have lived long enough to understand that tomorrow is not promised to anyone, and the joy of today can swiftly turn to sorrow. Sorrow that can rush in as an unwelcome surprise. Just think of the many friends and family members we lost and continue to lose this year. I have lived long enough to know that the dog that deserves the bone does not always get it in this life, and the weak and defenseless often fall victim to those who sit on the high seat called power. I have lived long enough to realize that material gain is a blessing, a wonderful blessing, but only for the brief span we have to enjoy it. Our time on this earth is short. Eventually, we will leave this earth with empty hands. How often have you seen a U-Haul truck following a funeral bearing one's earthly possessions? And when we kick the bucket, when we depart, many forget us. Our names will only pop up once in a while. I have lived long enough to observe many people obtain wealth and rise to prominence. Then they turn their backs on those they knew before their wealth and fame. But when misfortune knocks them to the ground, they cling once more to those they had left behind. Always remember your friends on your way up, for you might just meet them again on your way down. I have lived long enough to realize that money, big money, attracts friends, and many will stick very close to you when there is material gain. But when misfortune steps in and money dwindles, when you get sick, when you get broke, friends do dwindle too. Some run away from you. I have lived long enough to see the wrath called retribution descend like big stones on the heads of those who choose to embrace evil. And you know what? People remark that they are victims of blight or somebody do them, but it is only their wicked deeds catching up with them. Our ancestors were right when they emphasize what goes around comes around. It's only a matter of time. I have lived long enough to know that faith in God is essential. For without faith, one cannot face the future with confidence. I have lived long enough to appreciate the goodwill of my family and my friends, and I have been pleasantly swarmed by the compassion that flows from loving hearts. I have lived long enough to know it is better to count our blessings than to dwell on the sorrows we face and to make confusion every day. And more I see the folly of worrying. So instead of worrying, just say a little prayer. Breathe a prayer. I have lived long enough to witness people fight over politics and political affiliation, while politicians they fight over shake hands in the dark and even switch alliances. I have listened as politicians promise sunshine, beautiful sunshine, and we end up with torrential rain and destructive floods that disturb our lives. I have lived long enough to value every day I open my eyes. And every time I smell a rose, observe the mountain greenery, or behold the captivating beauty of a sunset, I pause and I thank the Creator, my Creator, for sparing my life. And I thank the Creator for sparing your life too, for it could have been different. God bless Anthony Wendell, the Riggs.